and welcome to another educational video about screen printing by Catspit Productions. Thanks a lot for clicking on my video today. I really appreciate your time and attention very much. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, you like the tips, you like my advice, the tutorial information, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel right now, because that's a free way of helping support me in the continued production of these free tutorial videos right here on YouTube for you all. So subscribe right now. Makes kittens happy. Okay, all right, so I know that this topic, I've probably mentioned this in the past in some of my artwork videos, and you know, it's a question that I keep getting asked over and over, which is, you know, I'm just starting out, I just bought a kit, but I don't know how to create art. How can I create art if I really am not a screen printing artist or a graphic artist of any kind, and I don't really know Illustrator and or CorelDRAW, and I don't know how to create art? How can I make art for my customers if I don't know how? And there's a really easy way to start out making very cool artwork for your customers without knowing how. And that is simply to use vector clip art. Okay, I know I've talked about this in the past, but today we'll take a quick look and I'll see if I can, on the fly, quickly slap together a piece of very simple one-color artwork using some clip art and some text or fonts, right? Okay, but just be aware that you can buy clip art in volumes. Sometimes they come with books, and you get a DVD plus a book to browse. Okay, so there's all kinds of clip art. Some clip art has programs that will allow you to search the volume of clip art. Other clip art might just be files, and you would need to use Adobe Bridge, which we'll look at today, but I have done a video, you've probably seen it, I hope, right? The video about Adobe Bridge and how to use that to browse folders of clip art, and you'll see how I do that today. So, and clip art comes with templates. Like, not only will clip art be individual pieces of art or objects and shapes and things and items and stuff like that, but it also can be full templates of, a design ready to go. And I'll show you a few examples of shirts that I've printed, made, that are consistent or made up of completely, all clip art. Okay, so let's take a quick look at a few examples of clip art that has been printed on shirts, and then I'll see if we can look at making a simple clip art design in Illustrator, and that's about it. I just want to make you guys aware that clip art is very powerful, and you can really use it, when you really don't know what you're doing, you can learn with clip art, and clip art is very powerful. Okay, so here is a sampling of shirts that have been done with clip art, and I probably have shown you some of these or all of these before. I can't remember, but this one here is actually a template where we added some text and we removed some of the artwork from the template to make it a little bit more simple. So this is a big template thing, and of course we changed the colors and stuff and made it, I think it was a very complex template, and we reduced it to like 4 colors. So templates can be very cool because you can modify them. This one I did a video about, and this piece of art is entirely clip art. There's like 4 or 5 pieces of clip art, including the flames and then a particular font that matched quite well. So fonts are very powerful. Don't use a simple font. Try to find a font that goes with the artwork or goes with the theme of the artwork. So here you have all clip art, all pieces of clip art, and then just a font. You should also remember this piece of art, or this job. We did a video about this, and again, this is all clip art with font. There's some Southwestern font on the bottom, and then at the top is the Catspit font, which is not really a font. Those are the only letters that exist. So, that's kind of like an original piece of art. The Catspit letters itself are more like a logo. And then the rest of it is clip art and then font for Screen Printing Equipment and Supply Store, Phoenix, Arizona. that's just the font I have on the computer. And all of the other elements in here are pieces of vector clip art. Please remember that I do sell screen printing equipment and supplies. I'm not just a YouTuber. I'm actually a screen printing equipment and supplies dealer. So I sell screen printing equipment, kits, packages, supplies. I feature free shipping. I have no credit card fees. I have lifetime guarantee on the Ranar presses. A lot of cool savings. So check out my offerings at catspitscreenprintsupply.com.
I know I've shown you Adobe Bridge before, and in Adobe Illustrator you would go up to File and Browse in Bridge. And this is where you open your folders. You go into your artwork folders where you have your vector clip art, and then you can actually see stuff. So it's really easy to put together a one-color piece of artwork, or even a two-color, because we could just put it on two different layers. Okay, but for instance, construction might be easy for me to do. So let's see, if we take a bulldozer, you double-click on it, and there it is. Simply copy it, and we can bring it over to our document, whatever size you want to make it. You can have this all set. You can expand it, or size it. Okay, then we can close this. We don't need that. And go back to Bridge, and maybe we want to pull out something else, and we want to try to use similar type artwork. Like if it's a line drawing, then you want to try to pick different designs that are very much like that as a line. With this one here we're using, maybe something like this could work, possibly. We copy it, bring it over to our document, and paste. And we can work with different elements. That one's a little heavy, so let's see what else we can find. And of course, your customer may actually request, I need 2 bulldozers. Okay, so maybe this one would work. This one doesn't look too bad. So we can put that one in. If you don't like that one, you can get rid of it. Make sure you get all the parts to it. Sometimes these things are grouped. Sometimes they're not, so you can group it. It'll be a little easier, and make sure you don't leave any elements. See that? Invisible elements that from a piece, that can be a problem. So you might want to make sure they're grouped. So that one's grouped. You can see it. Okay, so here's a couple of bulldozers. Don't forget you can add shapes. Okay, and watch what we do. If we want, we can arrange, send to back, and then we can actually make an outline and build that outline up a little bit. Oh, let's see, hold on a second. Sometimes it doesn't like to. There we go. Okay, so you can build a little outline. And with that, depending on how things work, you always got to check, how it's going to interact with your other pieces of art. Okay, we could send this object, send it backward once to put this one in front, but it's still in front of the circle. Okay, see, so different elements. Then, you can go back and get a square and put something in if you like. Arrange, send to back. And maybe this one we want to have a fill. Okay. See, so you can create all kinds of stuff with clip art. And then, of course, don't forget, you can do maybe this is the business name. Okay, so you can play around with it and then go up here. And like I said, fonts, fonts. I don't mean for that to be a tongue twister, but really collect fonts. Fonts are just, very cool. and it can really make a difference. Let's just try that one just because, but spend time looking at fonts. And there's ways to curve the fonts. We won't get into that, but there's ways to follow the circle. To start out with, the easiest thing to do would be to do a straight line. And when you're putting stuff over like this, you can do an outline, a white outline, and then make it a little bit thicker. And that kind of separates it from stuff that you're putting it over. See? So, and then who knows? You could take this box and, get complicated. We could make a gradient, and mess around with a gradient. If you have RIP software, we could make it a gradient from one side to the other for top to bottom and put a halftone dot in here. So a very simple piece of artwork. And then, there are other types of artwork. Like there's all kinds of stuff that you can find, shapes and objects and just literally thousands of things you can collect or buy. Like I said, you can buy volumes of clip art and templates, of course. I do have some templates in here somewhere. I'm not sure where they are, but here's car parts. Look at this. I mean, literally all kinds of stuff. Okay, not that somebody would want these flags necessarily, but we could, have flags. You can literally, oh, and don't forget, you can move stuff around, change the shape, change the size. Maybe we're putting these a little like this, and we're putting something over here, but maybe it's not racing flags. Maybe the guy has some flags or something that he wants in there. I don't know. I'm just showing you as an example of how you can build artwork with clip art. And you want to make sure that it makes sense and stuff. Make sure that objects aren't going to blend into one another and kind of not be legible or understandable. You know what I'm saying? You want to really watch that kind of stuff when you're doing this. And don't forget, if you want to create, a two color, all you would have to do is create a new layer. Okay, and then basically, instead of bunching this all up on one layer, we could have taken these different parts and we put them on a different layer. Okay, so on layer 2, maybe I want another shape. And maybe I'm going to do something down here with it. Oops. Hold on a sec. Let's see if that'll work. Object, arrange, send to back. Sometimes you have some problems. Oh, well, that's because it's on a different layer. Oh, you know what you have to be careful of? Yes. When you create these layers, they'll actually, do you see what I just did there? So when you create a new layer, oops, I didn't mean to expand that. When you create a new layer, and I just accidentally, okay. When you create a new layer, now I just kind of like open this whole thing up. All right, so I created a new layer, and it actually goes on top of the first layer. So if you want it to be behind, if you're adding it behind or whatever, then you would click this layer and just drag it below this one, and now you see the object went to the back. Okay, so, you have to get used to little things like that. So now I have this little object on one layer. I can turn it on and off, and then the other one. See, so that's like a two color. So then we might drop in a third layer and put our little registration marks, or you probably already have a template for that, right? And you can do, multicolor. So, there you go. And you can take off any of these pieces and put them on the other layer if you wanted them to be a different color. Okay, so like we can copy this piece and paste it to layer 2 and go back to layer 1, or actually let's go back to layer 2 and then put it there. Okay, I'll turn layer 2 off. Go back to layer 1. You can lock layer 2 so you don't accidentally, see? So now there I have those two things are on the second layer, or my second color, if that's what I wanted, to use. Okay, so I think that really kind of gives you a good idea. So here's the one color. Here's two colors, so you can print them off, or you can just print it off like this as a one color. Okay, and of course you would have to add reg marks if you wanted to make this a two color. You could add reg marks either right here in Illustrator or through your RIP software, of course. But this job could be printed straight from Illustrator. You could make these objects 100% CMYK black, and then print them straight from Illustrator by doing visible layers. And that's it. All right, so I mean, there you go. A cut above, excavating, you put some more text down here. You can copy this, paste it, bring it back down here. You can get rid of it. Oh, I want it on layer 2. There it is on layer 2. And then bring it, arrange, bring to front. But now remember, it's on layer 2, so it can only be in front of everything on layer 2, but not in front of anything on layer 1. Okay, so that's the thing. If you wanted this in front as a third color, we would put another layer on top. We could actually, guess we could do like this. And if we put this one on top and then put this on that layer, now it's okay, you get it? So there you go. So something like that. Okay, and I'm just demonstrating how things can be on all these different layers. So that's one layer, this is another layer, this is another layer, and that way, you can, create a multicolor and, not use RIP software if you don't have it. And of course here you really wouldn't want this going through the flag. You would work something out nice here, maybe something over in here and move this object there out from behind the text, really, unless that's the way they want it. All right, so there's a quick example of how you can kind of slap together some cool artwork from clip art.
Okay, so I hope this video helped you out in starting out with screen printing. Please remember that I do sell screen printing equipment and supplies at catspitscreenprintsupply.com. So check out my offerings if you're looking for screen printing equipment or supplies, startup kits, packages, belt dryers, presses, all kinds of stuff. I feature free shipping anywhere in the continental US on a lot of my major screen printing equipment purchases. So check it out, catspitscreenprintsupply.com. Thanks a lot for watching today. Please remember to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.